Listen here. You think the world cares about your heart, eh? Let me set it straight for you. They don't. Not a bloody soul in this twisted game gives a damn about the storm raging in your chest. The streets, the deals, the glances traded under dim lights. It's all survival, boy. The moment you bare that heart, you might as well paint a bullseye on your back. Emotions, they'll eat you alive. Make no mistake. You walk around with that soft look, that plea hidden in your eyes, hoping for a shred of mercy. But mercy's for the ones who don't make it. It's for the weak, for the ones who never learn that every inch given is an invitation for the knife. I've watched too many souls, bright as day, snuffed out because they let themselves believe there was a place for softness. There isn't. Not here. See, when I was just a lad, I thought, just like you do, that the world had room for kindness. That maybe, somewhere between the smoke and the gunshots, there was a space where one could let down their guard. But what did I learn? I learned that the world is a butcher's block, and everyone's got their knives ready. The ones who survive, they're not the biggest or the loudest. They're the ones who learn to wrap their heart in iron and move like a ghost, unseen and untouchable. It's not that I don't feel. I'm not a monster, despite what they whisper when they think I'm not listening. But every scar on this face, every night spent counting breaths in the dark, wondering if it was my last, that's the cost of letting your emotions lead the way. Every time I let hope creep in, every time I dared to feel, the world reminded me that hope is just a fool's errand. I remember a lad, soft eyes, full of dreams. He walked with me once, thought there was good to be had in the dark, said that if you just held on to who you were, you'd make it out with your soul intact. I told him he'd best start praying or start running. He didn't listen. Found him a week later, lifeless, eyes still open, as if he couldn't believe the blade he never saw coming. That's the truth of it, isn't it? The world will use your emotions against you. Every tear, every smile, it's leverage. Show it, and you're handing your enemy the match to burn you down. People, they're like vultures, circling, watching for that first sign of weakness. You break for a moment, just one bloody second, and they'll be there, ready to feast on what's left. They say, Tommy, why don't you smile more? Well, I'll tell you why. Smiling, it's just another way to bare your teeth. And in a world like this, you'd better keep them clenched tight. The moment you grin, the moment you let them think you're anything but stone, they'll sink their claws in. And you, standing there with that look, like you're still trying to make sense of it, thinking maybe I'm wrong, that maybe there's more to this life than just getting by, surviving one step at a time. Let me tell you something, and you listen good. Hope is the cruelest trick they play. It's the whisper that keeps you on your knees, that makes you think if you just try harder, if you just believe a little more, something will change. But nothing changes, lad. The streets don't change. The darkness doesn't change. And the people, they only get sharper, hungrier. You want to make it. You learn this. Don't show your heart. Don't let them see the cracks, the places where you're still human. You learn to stitch yourself up with steel, to carve out the pieces that make you bleed. You look into that mirror and you tell yourself, I am not weakness. I am not mercy. And maybe one day, if you're lucky, if you're ruthless enough, you'll walk through the fire and come out whole. But until then, don't you dare let them see you falter. Don't you dare show your heart. You think strength is about muscles or power. No, strength is the art of the mask, the silence between breaths. It's the way you walk into a room and make sure nobody knows what's ticking behind those eyes. Because if they do, if they catch that flicker of doubt or that trace of regret, it's over. You'll have handed them a weapon they'll wield without mercy. I've seen men built like oxen, their fists strong enough to break bone, crumble because their hearts were too open. Because when the world reached inside them, it found something to break. And break it did. Over and over. Till they were nothing more than echoes of who they once were. I don't want that for you, lad. No, not for you. You're still standing here defiant, fists clenched like you can fight the world. But let me tell you, the real fight isn't out there in the alleys or the back rooms. It's in here, inside that rib cage, where the shadows play games with your mind, where the memory of a lost friend or a whispered word can cut deeper than any blade. You've got to learn to lock that place up tight. Fortify it until there's nothing left for the world to twist. Now there are days, oh there are days, when you'll think, what if? When the silence is so loud, it's a roar, and all you can hear is the rush of blood and regret. You'll wonder what it would be like to let someone in, to drop the weight off your shoulders and just feel. But feeling, that's the most dangerous move you'll ever make. That's the kind of mistake that costs lives, breaks empires. You want to talk about the cost of emotion? Look around. Every scar, every shadow, every person who ever looked at me and thought they knew the story. Every one of them is a reminder that weakness is a luxury, and it's one I refuse to afford. I learned that the hard way, when everything I had was hanging by a thread, and I was faced with the choice, break or harden. So I chose iron, not because it was easy, but because it was the only way to survive. When you wake up and the world feels colder, harsher, and you question whether it's worth it, remember this: they'll never know the battles you fight when the world goes dark. They'll never know the price of holding it all in, but you do. And that's where your strength lies, in the silence, in the control. The second you master that, you're untouchable. Let them see what you choose to show, a face that says you're 10 steps ahead, a mind that's unreadable. Because out here, that's survival. That's the difference between being the one holding the strings and the one dangling by them. Emotions, they're for poets and dreamers, for the ones who can afford to live in a world softer than this one. But not us, not me, and certainly not you. Remember what I said. Emotions are weakness, and weakness is a killer. The sooner you bury that part of yourself, the longer you'll live to fight another day. And you'll wonder, won't you? In the darkest hours, when the whiskey burns your throat, but fails to numb what lies beneath, you'll wonder if I was right. You'll question if it was worth it, trading the warmth of what could have been for the cold, steel of what is. But let me tell you, when the shadows stretch long and the world's weight presses down like a vice, it'll be that hardness that keeps you breathing. Every person who walked into the fire hoping to change it, thinking their heart could withstand the heat, they didn't make it. I've watched them fall, seen the light in their eyes snuffed out as they reach for something that was never meant to be touched. You see, when you're soft, you're just waiting for the world to carve you open, to take what it wants and leave you hollow. But if you choose the path I've laid before you, you don't just survive, you thrive. You become the force that others step aside for, the storm that whispers through the alleys, feared and respected. They'll call you ruthless, say you've lost whatever humanity you once had. Let them. Those words are nothing but echoes from those who can't comprehend what it takes to stay alive when everything is rigged against you. Let them judge from their safe corners, never daring to step into the real fight. They don't know the rules out here. They don't understand that mercy is a noose you tie around your own neck. And I know there'll come a time when someone close, someone with eyes that remind you of the man you used to be, will test this resolve. They'll look at you like they've cracked the armor, found the place you've hidden all the fragments of yourself you don't show. You'll want to reach out, let that wall slip for just a moment. But that moment, that hesitation, is the difference between predator and prey. You'll learn that lesson like I did, with blood and regret staining your hands. I wasn't always this way, you know. There was a time when I believed in dreams, in loyalty untouched by betrayal. But every knife in the back, every betrayal by those who swore allegiance, taught me that the heart is a double-edged blade, and it always cuts the one who carries it the deepest. So I laid down that blade, buried it, with the part of me that thought love could conquer this cold, dark place. You think this makes a man bitter, makes him less than human, but no, it makes him free. Free from the chains that others willingly shackle themselves with, thinking that sentiment will shield them from the storm. It won't. It never has. And it never will. The only shield worth bearing is the one you forge yourself, unbreakable and unyielding. So take this lesson and etch it deep. When you walk these streets, when you stand toe-to-toe with those who think they've seen your kind before, let them see only what you allow. Let them tremble at the calm in your voice, the set of your jaw that tells them you're beyond reach. You're not someone who can be swayed by pleading eyes or promises whispered in the dark. You are forged iron, unflinching, unmoved. And when the day comes, when you stand among the ruins of those who underestimated you, you'll know this truth. There is no greater power than a man who has mastered himself, who has chosen strength over sentiment and control over chaos. That's the legacy you want. The one that echoes long after your shadow fades from these streets. So lad, next time you feel that swell in your chest, that whisper of doubt or longing, crush it before it grows. Don't show your heart. It's a currency you can't afford. And remember, as long as you walk this path, emotions are weakness. Let them see only what you choose. Let them wonder what fires burn behind those eyes. But never, ever let them see the flames. And in those moments when the silence cuts deeper than any blade, when the emptiness wraps around you like a suffocating shroud, you'll know the price. It's steep, aye, but it's the price of being untouchable. The world has a way of punishing those who love too openly, who hope too recklessly. They'll tear apart whatever light you show. Pick it apart until there's nothing left but ash and echoes. That's why you need to learn this lesson now, before you become another casualty. You see, when you start out, they don't tell you about the nights that stretch on forever. They don't tell you about the faces that haunt you, the ones who whispered promises before their voices fell silent. They don't tell you that being strong means living with the weight of choices that shattered someone else. But if you're to walk these streets and keep breathing, you'll carry that weight, heavy as it is, and you'll learn to let it harden you rather than break you. There will be a time, maybe when the rain pounds like a war drum against the window, that you'll find yourself staring at your reflection, wondering if you've lost too much. You'll reach for a memory, a feeling, something to remind you that once, before the world took its due, you were more than this iron shell. But you'll stop yourself, because you'll remember my words. Emotions are weakness. They are chains waiting to bind you to the mistakes of yesterday, to drag you into a pit you'll never climb out of. And don't think for a second that you're immune, that you can carry the burden of feelings and still walk unscathed. I thought that once, thought that holding on to that last bit of humanity would keep me grounded, make me different from the monsters I fought. But it doesn't. It only makes you slower, makes you second guess when you need to act. It gives others a way in, a thread to pull until you unravel. There was a girl once, eyes bright like the first light of dawn, who said I was more than the stone-faced man they all saw. She said she could see the cracks, the pieces I tried to hide, and for a moment, I wanted to believe her, wanted to think that maybe there was a part of me still untouched by the shadows. But belief is a weakness. It's a door you leave open, and when the wind howls and the world comes crashing in, it's that same door that lets the wolves tear you apart. So I did what needed to be done. I shut it all down, walked away from anything that made me hesitate, anything that reminded me there was once warmth. It's a lonely road, lad, no denying that. But it's the road where you keep standing when others fall. It's the road where you build an empire from the ashes of those who couldn't bear the cost. You'll hear whispers, those who think they know you saying you're cold, that there's nothing left inside. Let them talk. Their words are hollow, spoken by people who've never faced the blade without flinching. They don't understand that strength isn't born from comfort. It's carved from every sacrifice, every wall you build around the places you don't want them to touch. There will come a day when you look out over what you've built, through blood, through loss, and you'll know that it was worth it. Not because it was easy, but because you survived where others didn't. Because you chose to shield your heart with iron and see the world for what it truly is. A battlefield where only the relentless remain. And when the last of your enemies falls, when silence wraps around you once more, and the ghosts of choices made whisper in your ear, you'll stand tall. You'll know that no matter what they threw at you, no matter how hard the storm raged, you kept your heart locked away where it couldn't betray you. You chose strength. You chose survival. And that, lad, is what will make you unstoppable. So take this with you, as if it were carved into your very bones. Don't show your heart. Don't let them touch what's buried deep. Emotions, they are for the weak. And you, if you're to walk through the fire and come out unburned, must be stronger than that. Let the world see only the mask, the resolve, the shadow of a man who cannot be broken. That is how you survive. That is how you win. And when the dust settles, when the echoes of battle have long faded into the silence of the night, you'll be left with one thing: yourself. No one will stand beside you to share the weight. No cheers will lift your spirit, but that's all right, because in that moment, you'll realize that surviving isn't about the noise or the praise. It's about knowing you stood firm when the world tried to tear you apart, and you didn't flinch. Remember, there's no shame in being feared, no shame in being the one others cannot read, cannot reach. You wear that like armor, a testament to every time you chose steel over sentiment, every time you hardened your heart instead of letting it bleed. Let them wonder who you are. Let them fear what they don't understand, because in that mystery, in that untouchable silence, lies your power. So take a breath, steel your mind, and walk into the fray with your eyes unblinking, your heart locked away. Let them come. Let the storms rage, and know that when all is said and done, you'll still be standing, unmoved, a shadow they couldn't break. That, lad, is how you become more than just another name in the dark. That's how you become a legend.